Last time on Fun Panthers, the party departed from the abandoned Temple of Mistar and began their journey towards Herria Magi in earnest. While making camp, the party discussed their next steps, and the conversation eventually turned to Ken's bottle of gin and if they could make use of it in any way. After a short vote, Ken opened the bottle, and before them materialized a blue-skinned djinn who regarded them with some indignation.
Hi there again. My friends and I were interested in talking to you. I was singing your praises of that, frankly, incredible drink you made. And we were wondering if you'd like to, chat with us. We'd love to learn more about you and the things that you're capable of.
Oh, so now you're interested. Oh, I'm
Look,
sorry. I thought you all were terribly busy. So busy you couldn't speak to a fucking genie. After speaking for some time, the djinn adopted the moniker of Murray, not wanting to reveal his true name to the party, and invited them into his lamp to drink and observe his collection of oddities and trinkets. After some hesitation, the party all entered and were treated to a well-stocked bar. After a bit of time, the party began to explore Murray's vast collection, which included beholder skulls, the ancient weapons of titans, a large collection of very valuable and rare books, and much, much more. And you just see this badass looking glaive made out of bones. This is the very first thing I added to my collection. This was actually when I still was going out. But this one, I think what was it? Right. No, a titan was trying to squeeze me out for some wishes, so I put a little trick on him and ended up swiping this from him after he wished me to fuck off. While the rest of the party were looking over different parts of the collection, Ken asked Murray if he had any weapons of great heroes or any stories about them. But Murray mostly dismissed this, remarking that very few of those heroic stories were real, and even fewer ended well for the heroes.
all I want is a good story.
But you're asking for things that are real. The stories you're asking about they don't happen. Someone doesn't go against God and just get away, because a god is a god, and a guy's a guy. This depressed Ken briefly, but then he countered by telling Murray his story about defying chaos, which intrigued him enough to invite the party to stay the night so long as Ken would continue to tell him the party's story. And as Ken began to weave his tale, the rest of the party thought of ways to leverage this favor to Murray and convince the djinn to transport them closer to Herria Magi. Ultimately, the party chose to transport to Glint, a smuggler town nearby, which the party could use to smuggle in several of their magic items without issue. Murray's willingness to transport the party also prompted questions about a potential second favor. Could he provide an escape route to the party while they were rescuing Ernest? Murray seemed more hesitant to this favor, but Sonny was able to tempt him using information about Warforged, which Murray was interested in adding to his collection. And after a moment of consideration, Murray agreed to offer the party this escape in exchange for the information and shook hands with Sonny. He holds out his hand. Fine.
All right, and Sonny goes to shake his hand, and as he's shaking his hand, he drops disguise self.
Oh, you motherfucker. Having tricked the djinn, the party slept while Ken continued to tell the party's tale, and the next day Murray transported the party to the area near Glint and said goodbye. Now over a week ahead of schedule, the party set to work immediately, with Kezia and Ode heading into the city to meet with members of the menagerie, a smuggler's ring that Kezia was familiar with that could assist the party with entering Herria Magi with fewer issues, while the rest of the party set to investigating the Heart of Chaos. Research boys, what you got?
I mean, I can't stress how poorly this is probably going to go before the research boys, but
I know, but this is how it happens, man. Sometimes when you're doing research, you gotta get a little bit risky.
The research boys set to work, eventually finding a way to interact with the heart that allowed Sonny to observe an alternative future, one in which the tear never occurred, but the Imperials were defeated, then a separate one in which they were victorious. They discussed then what their goals would be with using the heart, if they even wanted to use it, the risks of it, and what it could even do. Ultimately, though, Ken seemed resolved to use the object, if only to give him enough power to not be killed by the Dust Dragon outright, and after making a promise to Morak,
Just
Fair.
ease into it. Can you promise us that?
I have an idea of one way that I can do
Just
this.
promise me that you'll ease into it.
I'm not gonna just plunge.
Promise me
straight
that you're
into the
gonna
deep end.
ease into it.
Yes, I'm gonna tease it. Gonna, kind of wiggle my way in. I'm not gonna
You're
just
gonna
jump in.
just promise that you're gonna ease into it, Byron. Can you just say
Byron,
that
go.
to me right now?
You want me to say ease?
You promise that you're gonna
I-
ease yourself into it.
I promise not to jump into the deep end. I'm not going
Okay.
to just.
Here
not gonna-
is your giant apple of destruction and chaos magic.
All right.
Apple of
Have
Discord.
fun with it as you do.
Ken began to channel the object and was able to observe another alternative timeline, one in which he was studying the arts of persuasion and magic, and he was able to absorb these lessons and these powers into his current reality. As this was going on, Ode and Kezia were setting to work finding the menagerie. Specifically, they were looking for an old contact of Kezia's named MacLeod, searching for him at the Wounded Wolf Tavern in town. Along the way, however, the duo were being followed, and after a tense moment in an alleyway, were led to MacLeod's office, wherein they spoke with the wheelchair-bound halfling. You mentioned you were interested in getting some tickets. I need to see
Yes.
the items first to know how difficult it will be, how many tickets you need to purchase.
Yes, I understand. Where would you
Furthermore,
like to?
how expensive they'll be.
Yes, I understand.
Through this meeting, Ode and Kezia were able to reach an agreement with MacLeod to have several items smuggled in. However, just before leaving, Ode threw a curveball.
I actually, I don't want to speak out of turn. But we have somewhat of a plan to get our whole group into the place that we're going, and it's possible that our plan could be somewhat helped by potentially a wheelchair. If you happen to have an extra one or know where we could get one, if we could borrow it or pay you for it. And then she looks over at Kezia like really horrified that she's talking.
Kezia's just like, oh, that's an idea, sort of face.
Positively stunned by the request, MacLeod agreed and had one of his associates escort them back to their camp to deliver the wheelchair, acquire the items to be smuggled, and confirm payment. And with that, the session closed. Next time on Fun Panthers, the party visit a restaurant in town called the Golden Sturgeon, and get a little more than what they expect.